Good morning everybody, this is Justin Wolf from Wolf Customs. My last two videos we've talked about how we can better deal with the cold and prepare our bodies for winter. Like I said, winter is literally just around the corner, so we need to do everything that we can to prepare for that here and now. If we take our time and we do these things, we will definitely be able to enjoy ourselves outside far better than what we could if we don't. So we've talked about acclimating our bodies, and then we talked about good clothing to wear. Well, I touched base in the clothing, what happens when you're stagnant. And by stagnant is what I'm referring to is, take a deer hunter, for example. Here in Kansas, our rifle season takes place, our late rifle season takes place during the coldest part of the month, year. And when you go out and you're sitting stagnant, it doesn't really matter how much clothing you've got on. And during that time, even the acclimation doesn't really help. It helps, but it doesn't prevent us from getting cold. Our bodies just aren't moving. We're not generating that heat. That wind, especially here in Kansas, is flowing in, and just it's horrible. So here's a couple tips that you can do to keep warm when you're sitting stagnant, say for an example, hunting deer. This right here is where it starts. You remember when your parents and your grandparents used to tell you you're not leaving the house for school until you have a good hot breakfast? This is why. Just like when we're camping, if we want to really generate a lot of heat before bed, we eat a good fatty breakfast for dinner. Well, the opposite can be said for when we know we're getting ready to go out in the early mornings and it's bitter cold. Eat a good solid breakfast. Now for anybody that's wondering why that egg is green, some people just don't know that eggs that come from farm-raised chickens aren't always white. The ones that you get in the store, well, most of the time they're white. But you get the ones that are straight from the farm-raised chickens. The shells range from white, brown, off brown, green, all kinds of colors. Nothing wrong with them, guys. Nothing wrong with them at all. I don't know about you guys, but I fix my scrambled eggs straight into the grease of the bacon. It's cold out there. I want to be warm. I want that fat and grease. Now this next part, this is a good tip right here, so pay attention. When you're finished with your breakfast, sit down, pull up your laptop, open it up, start watching the news. Find out what our glorious world leaders are doing. Guaranteed it'll raise your blood pressure. Do that, you'll definitely stay warm. Dirty bastards. God, that bacon's good. You know, it occurred to me as I'm sitting here eating my eggs that guaranteed there's going to be somebody out there that's going to yell at me that I'm eating the yolk. Stop it! Eat the damn yolk. It's good for you. Just kidding. Use your own mind. You want to eat the yolk? Eat the yolk. You want to eat egg whites? Eat egg whites. Completely up to you. Now, a lot of people enjoy a cup of coffee with their breakfast. I'm no different. I enjoy a cup of coffee also. Wakes you up a little bit. But you want to know what truly wakes you up better than any energy drink out there? Water. So after your cup of coffee, or before your cup of coffee, down a bottle of water. Take a deep breath because you're almost out of breath. That right there will really wake you up. It rehydrates you from the night before. Your brain starts firing in all directions. You can think clearly and everything else. Drinking a good bottle of water right when you wake up does amazing things to you. All right, now we're all fat and sassy. My brain's hydrated. We got our base layer on. Got our ball cap on. We're ready to start the day. So, like I said, at this point we have our base layer. We're getting ready to walk out the door. I'm going to go ahead and throw on my medium layer. I'm going to leave my boots off. I want to be walking to my truck in my socks unless it's wet or snow or something like that. With our full stomachs, our metabolism is just going like crazy right now. Our brain's firing. Our body is going to start putting off a lot of heat just from that breakfast, that cup of coffee, and that 16 ounces of water. So I get to my truck. I personally leave the heater off, depending on how cold it is, of course. But I'm going to leave my heater off. I want my body to start adjusting to that cold now, which we should already be doing that because of the acclimation process. So we get to our location, we get out. The first thing that I do before I go to my deer stand or my sitting on the ground or whatever it is, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to urinate. All that liquid I took in, that's now in my bladder, and whatever's in our bladder, our body has to heat. So get rid of it. Put on all your outer layers. Maybe not your outer layer, depending on how cold it is and how far you're going to walk. You might choose to leave your outer layer off. Hike in with just your base layer and your medium layer. Once you get to your location, throw your outer layer on, sit down, get comfortable. So now we're sitting stagnant. Our body's working overtime, doing pretty good. But what if it's 5 degrees, 0 degrees? That's pretty damn cold. So now we might be sitting there for several hours, if not all day. You're going to eventually start to get chilly. So something that's good to take with you are these guys right here. These are the large body warmers. Take several of these things. Stick them up underneath your armpits, up against your chest, across your arms. Get your core nice and warm. Put them against your back, right in your waistband, where your kidneys and everything else. Keep them things nice and warm. Because what is going to happen is this is when our feet and our hands get cold. We're sitting stagnant. That our core senses that it's cold, so it's telling our brain, send all blood flow to the core to keep it warm. So if we are proactive and we keep that warm, now our extremities and everything else are going to stay warmer because our core doesn't feel the need to call in the troops, basically. So that is it's a very good thing, and trust me, I've had to do that many times. And even when you're camping in the middle of the night, you wake up chilled or something like that, throw one of those in your sleeping bag. Throw it underneath your wool blanket. Nothing wrong with that. Got to stay warm, right? So now there's other tips out there. A lot of people will bring coffee with them in a big thermos and all that good stuff. You can cuddle up with that. keep that warm liquid in you and all that good stuff. But me personally, when I'm out actually hunting, I don't like to drink as much, because the less I have to urinate, the better it is for me personally, but everybody's different. Another thing is keep everything cinched up. You know, pull your gloves up and then pull your coat around your gloves. That way that wind doesn't just shoot right in there and everything else. Pull up a neck gaiter. You know, don't let that air rush down. That air rushes down in here and just wicks all that heat and everything else out. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed these last 3 videos on how to help yourself stay warm this winter. If I've missed anything, if you guys have any special tips or tricks that you personally like, please share them with me. Share them with everybody. Turn around, make a video yourself. Because like I said, this is not regurgitation. This is people getting the information out there, because there's a lot of people out there that suffer with cold and everything else. I actually had a guy send me a message, say, you know, he suffers from, you know, his fingers and his toes and everything else getting bitter cold, and he never realized that he was going about it all wrong. He was one of those guys that would throw on 5 and 6 pairs of cotton socks, you know. So this, my last video, is going to tremendously help that guy, you know, and I guarantee he won't be the only person out there. So if the rest of you guys put out these videos, it's the same thing. We get that information out there, and that's what's important. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and as always, have a good one.